Hello YouTube, this is Amisbro. How are we doing today? I hope you all are doing well. And before I forget, allow me to say happy daily savings time, as some of you will be watching this video probably after daily savings time hits here on the East Coast. So do not forget to set your clocks ahead 1 hour if you haven't maybe already done that now before you went to bed. So let's talk about the topic for the video, and it is UtaPri, because we've hit that point, kids. We've hit a very interesting and critical time for UtaPri, because it's QN's weekend now. Quartet Night's weekend is their Evolution concert is this weekend. And then we ain't that far off, kids, until the next concert, which is in May 26th and May 27th and 28th. With day one, of course, like I've mentioned about a million times, being on my birthday, and I am looking forward to this, because we have to get the answers We have to get the answers soon, and we also have, in about 2 weeks from today, as of this recording, we have Anime Japan 2017. Will there be hints as far as what's going on with UtaPri there? I don't know. 25th and 26th, we will find out, possibly. So there's that to consider. And that will determine, in many respects, not only the future of the franchise as a whole, but also what will they do as far as, say, Heavens goes. Because whether or not people want to admit it, Heavens is the 500-pound elephant in the room right now. What is the future of the unit as far as the anime goes? Now, we know that they've appeared, that they're appearing in the latest Quiz no Prince-sama, which is referred to as All-Stars. And they're doing it by units this year. In the past, they've done it by, they've done at least 2 or 3 person teams. And this time, they have done it with Quartet Night. They took volumes 1 and 2. Volumes 3 and 4 belong to Heavens, and 5 and 6 belong to Starish. Of course, the one I'm interested in is the latest one, which is the Heavens group. And by the way, Ryohei, how is it the other 6 cast members can actually play their characters, and you sit there going and just being yourself, bruh? Come on now. And who's the one dude, Hanori, the guy who plays Vaughn? My guy's a goober. I love him all. If I didn't already love Vaughn as a character, I love him even more now, because Jesus, God, this is, say you play him to a T. Even when he's not animated, quote unquote. I must see this quiz. I must. It's like a requirement now. Speaking of Heavens, let's actually get to the point of the video, because we've gone 4 minutes and I haven't actually discussed it, have I? Let's go. So, UtaPri, Season 4. Well, it's more like going to be Season 5 soon. But we have to talk about Season 4 because it's going to tie in. Was Broccoli sending a message about where Haruka might be going in Season 5? And was it a very subtle one? Let's talk about it. So, if you watched very carefully the following episodes, Episode 1 of this past season and Episode 12 of this past season, you will notice something. I believe Broccoli did a very subtle nod as far as what direction the story could be going. And it ain't too far off, I don't think. Here's my theory. So let's break out the tinfoil. Alright, so in episode 1, you will recall that there was that song that required all 3 units. I can't remember the exact name of it, but you know the song I'm talking about. Heavens was the lead-off group. The final group was, of course, Starish with Quartet Knight in the middle. And by the way, if anybody's asked, you should know by now my favorite part, and I'm a QN guy also, but I loved Heavens' part the most of the 3. I'm just going to admit that now. Anyways, but what was interesting was I looked at their attire, and I thought that was quite interesting in and of its own right. Then I remembered that not long after that, they appeared on the stage with the Quartet Knight and Starish when they were doing the announcement for the re-election. Because if you remember, the storyline was that even though the QN won, because they wanted to compete against Starish and Heavens, they got the win thrown out. Therefore, Heavens now was eligible to compete, but they would eventually do the duet project with Starish, which we all know. But this was what I found interesting. If you looked at the way their blazers, Heavens' blazers specifically, were, and you looked carefully at those, you probably wouldn't have thought much of it until you got later in the season. Episode 12, before they perform Immortal Inferno, Haruka's walking through a hallway in the backstage before Nagi goes, Haruka! I can't do it like him. And she's quite happy to see them. Alright, no issue, because she's gotten used to being around them, so she's a lot more comfortable being with them. Which brought me to something very interesting also, but I'll talk about that maybe in another video. So, I looked at that, and I looked at the way her jacket was. And as soon as I'm sitting here, if you look at her jacket or her blazer, it almost looks, if not exactly, very similar to the jacket that the Heavens group wore at the announcement of the re-election and during their part of the song in the first episode of this past season. So this made me wonder something. Could Broccoli be very subtly telling us where Haruka's going to go in the new season? Now some people will say, well, how are you sure there's going to be a new season? I have my hunch. They're not going... Here's my feeling. Okay? And I've explained this numerous times, but I'll reiterate. Starish got their big win. In theory, if you wanted to go there, so did the Quartet Knight. They gave theirs back, though. Which now also plays into this. We know that because they won the second election, Starish didn't just say, you know what, and we don't want the win. I've often wondered, if Starish had won the original election, would they have given the win back like the Quartet Knight? But that's all water under the bridge now. The point is, though, it's a very interesting and very subtle thing. The way that they had Haruka dress, because the jacket almost looks like one of Heaven's jackets from earlier in the season, and with how happy she was to see them, like, if you notice this, and I thought this was interesting also, it's almost a flip. Like, Haruka should be very comfortable being around Stars, so if they were showing affection to her in any way, shape, or form, she shouldn't be shocked or surprised by it. Not like when Ichi did the chin tilt in Season 2. Remember that? Isn't it amazing to me? It's just a bit amazing to me that she still goes when they hug her, especially doing a back hug. I don't know why, but that strikes me. Also seeing the way, like I said, her outfit was. I'm not saying, kids, but it's a theory. Look, Starish won Triple S. So did, and there's people that are QN fans which have said this, no matter who won this second election, nothing will change the fact that QN originally won, Cortana originally won the Triple S, and they did. So, if you write the story where the two main units of UtaPri have effectively won a big event, that means there's one group left. I think this is what's going to happen. I think we're going to get to a build that is going to take at least 2 seasons. Again. But this time, Heavens is going to turn out on top. And I say this knowing, A, I'm probably going to catch a whole lot of crap for it, but I also say this with disrespect. This is 2017. We still have 2018 to go, which is, I'm thinking, when the next season's going to be. And then we have 2020. Remember, 2020 is when the Tokyo Games is going to be. Wouldn't it be fitting if the way they did it, they ended the series in some way with all 3 groups effectively having won some big event, and they all then performed together at the opening ceremonies? Wouldn't that be something? I'm wondering if that's not where we're going to end up. Because it almost seems, the way the entire UtaPri universe is going now, it almost seems anticlimactic to end UtaPri now. You have to get it to 2020, which is what I keep saying. Again, 2020 is when the Tokyo Games are going to be. So, assuming they did that, assuming that they stretched it out that far, wouldn't it be interesting if, even if they can't perform at the opening game, at the opening ceremonies, wouldn't it be interesting if they do one final concert and it's all 3 groups there again, and all 3 of them have won a big event of some kind? Remember, technically speaking, the Quartet Knight and Stars have won Triple S. Heavens came this close after damn near being disqualified. Again. I was waiting for that too. I was waiting for something to happen where they lose because they're thrown out, their performance doesn't count, and then they have to redo it again. That's what I was thinking that's what was going to happen. But then I thought if they did that, it would be a 2017 season, and that would just throw my entire theory out of whack. Well, my original, just so people know, my original theory was, and I think a lot of people believe this, when they were going to do the fourth season. The fourth season would be in 2017, because every other season had been on an odd-numbered year. Which meant that if they did one more season, it would be in 2019, which would be a year short of the Tokyo Games. Now, they're 2016. So you go 2016, 2018, 2020. You could, in theory, end up doing one final show, one final stage show for UtaPri in 2020 with all three groups, and perfect world scenario, all three groups have won some major event and they all have one big win under their belt. That's the perfect scenario. But to do that, we would have to get Heavens a composer. The idea has been, and the storyline has been, that Haruka would become Heavens' composer if Heavens could beat Starish. And it turned into if Heavens could beat Starish or Quartet Knight. Because that's what Ichi's wanted. Well, they've fallen short at least, twice, technically, if you don't count the disqualification. So the theory is that for at least one of these seasons coming up, Shining is going to loan Haruka to Heavens. The reason I say this is because I think there's a game coming. I can't tell you when, but I'm almost guaranteeing you there's going to be a game coming at some point. And I almost wonder how it's going to be done. Like, I think Haruka's going to be the main character because UtaPri is synonymous with Haruka. Now, you could make the argument, well, it's also synonymous with Starish. This is true. This doesn't mean if they did a Heavens season that the Starish characters couldn't make cameos. Because they could, very easily. Like if they did an episode for Iji, you could have Tokyo show up. It's not that hard to do. It's really not. Unfortunately, some people have gone to the point where if it's a Heavens season, they wouldn't watch it. And you know how they feel about that to a disgusting degree. But if you ask me where do I see it going at this point, it's simple. Haruka's going to be working with Heavens in some way, shape, or form. And I think what's going to happen is, if I was writing the story, and I'll try and make this brief now, the story goes like this as far as at least the next season. Haruka has done what she needed to do with Starish. They've won 2 seasons. Or they've won 2 big competitions. 3 if you count the Neo Dream, although I don't know if that was really a competition. They've won the UtaPri Awards, and they won the second election for Triple S. So in theory, they've done what they needed to do. Quartet Knight, in theory, has already won the original election for Triple S. So, what's left to do? Heavens! So, she will be loaned, or she would, if it was me running it in a perfect world scenario, she would be loaned by Shining to Raging. Now notice the term I used, loaned. And she would work with them to try and get them on the same profile as the Starish counterparts. And the way you end it, maybe not the first season, maybe not this season, but the way you would end the story, their story, and potentially the end of the series, is when you get to season 6. And yes, I'm predicting there's going to be 6 seasons now. Originally, my original prediction, if anybody remembers this from years ago, when season 3 was going on, was there would be 5. I'm now saying we were going to add 1 to that. 6. And I believe the way you do it is in the final season, Heavens gets their big victory. And the story that you're telling, or the story that you finished telling, was a group that nearly got disbanded at the UtaPri Awards. They go from that all the way up to the top. And they come out on top in whatever big competition, and now all 3 groups have won, and nobody has to feel left out. And if you want to make it fitting for them, they shouldn't beat Quartet Knight. I mean, they could, but that wouldn't be satisfying to me. You know, as it goes, the veterans, when they know they're leaving in professional wrestling, on the way out, they put over the young ones. Starish, the veterans of the series, put over Heavens, and that's how you end the anime series. That's what you do. It sounds like it's a bad thing to do, but it's really not. It's what should be done. Because to me, that's how you tell the story. You've kind of satisfied the Quartet Knight fans. You've satisfied the Starish fans more than enough. It's time for Heavens to get their just ones. And not necessarily a subservience to Starish either. I mean, you could start it that way, but they have to beat them in the end. They have to do what Starish did to Quartet Knight. They have to beat them. There's no way around it. It will make Starish fans mad, I'm sure, but they have to win. That could just be me, but that's how I would rate it, because at this point, the way they've wrote the story, to make everybody happy, all 3 groups have to win 1 major music competition. Starish has already won 2. In theory, like I said, Quartet Knight's already won 1. Now it's Heavens' turn. And you know how we really end it? The same way that their story with Starish began is the way it ends. Win or disband. The loser disbands. The winner gets the big moment. In the end, Heavens wins. And in reality, since the series is ending, the stipulation doesn't mean anything, but being able to say they, being Starish, put over or gave the win to, did the honors for Heavens, I don't think they would have any problem with that. Especially after the season 4 duet project. But that could just be me. What do you think? Am I nuts? Am I nuts about everything I just said? Because I'm telling you right now, the closer we get to May 27th, the closer we get to March 25th, there's going to be a lot of theories in my head coming up. I had every plan to finish More Blood recently. But I've got so many ideas for fan fictions and so many ideas for other things. This is going to take precedent for a little bit. Because this is the time, this is the moment that we are at. It's almost go time, kids. What will happen to UtaPri? What will happen to Heavens? What will happen to Starish? And what will happen to Quartet Knight? Those answers will be given to us either at the QN Live, March 25th, 26th at Anime Japan, or May 27th at 6th Stage. There's 3 opportunities right at this point. What is the end result? You find out with me, because we have a hell of a trip to go on. You ready? Let's go. See you then.